Good morning. Day one. First day, actually. First full day outside of Seattle on some islands. This island is the San Juan Islands. And we're going to drive to Friday Harbor and get the trikes ready for doing some trike riding. I slept in a room with 5 other dudes and we're all breathing heavy and...
Contributing, believe me.
Oh, I'm sure. Was I snoring?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Started sawing. Jackhammering. Oh, yeah. You know what? It's sad, though, because I'm on the top bunk. I'm the hardest one to reach, to slap around. So this is my trike. This is an Azub Tetris, and it's been donated by my friend Pat there. If you didn't watch yesterday's episode, when I came on this trip, I had to fly a couple of connections, and it's just a week. It was going to be expensive to take it, my big trike, the one I built in Czech Republic, and I didn't feel comfortable flying with it, especially after it was lost in Dublin for a month in the baggage hellscape of baggage claim. As long as I ride an Azub, I'm good to go. How many are here in this pile? 12. 12 cat trikes all in a row. Yeah, Mel, who organizes this event, he owns a cat trike dealer in Portland. If you guys don't know, I stayed at his house while I was in Portland and got to know him really well. And he graciously allowed me to bring Azub on his cat trike trip. But yeah, mostly cat trikes here. So now that I've got this trike sort of set up, I gotta adjust it to fit myself, which is funny because when I was at Azub, I did a whole video about fitting to the trike. You can adjust the boom outward and inward. You can adjust the handlebars. You can move the seat forward and backward, and you can also adjust the incline and decline of the seat. Well, those things all work together to make a perfect fit. So, okay, so this is my ride. We've got a rear pannier. We've got my computer and my phone. Pat has helped me with the side bag and basically everything. I elongated my boom. I shifted the seat forward. I adjusted my incline and locked in my seat stays. I've got my Jayoe flag. A lot of these trikes are going to be battery powered, have electric motors. I am not going to be powered having electrical motors, so I'll be at a sort of a disadvantage, sort of, but that'll be okay. Today's going to be a short ride, only about 10 kilometers, so just kind of like a nice warm-up, which is good because I'm not feeling too hot today, so hopefully I get over that today. Eva had a little stuffy nose, and I think I caught it on my way out of Detroit. So if you guys don't know, Sylv has a YouTube channel. I'm going to link to it. Check it out. What's a video that you'd recommend people watching on your channel? We've done this before. What's a recent one?
Right, just whatever comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sylv just lives an interesting life, traveling around, riding trikes, having fun, driving, looking for places to ride her trike. She's about to go on. You're about to go on a big journey.
Epic.
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 March.
And I don't usually use that word.
It's pretty epic.
In fact, this one really is.
Yeah.
The biggest tour I've ever done.
Wow. But in the USA?
All throughout the USA, probably 9,000 miles.
9,000 miles. Jayoe. Today's going to be a short ride, right? 10 kilometers or so? 10 miles?
Maybe 20 kilometers.
Okay.
9 miles out, 9 miles back. But there's a lot of climbing. You know, it's an island.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of climbing on islands.
Yeah.
Well, these islands.
Yeah, so there's 1,000 feet out and 1,000, so it's going to be 2,000 feet of climbing.
Oh, okay.
So that's significant for
Yeah.
15, 18 miles.
Yep. How you doing, Dana?
I'm doing great, man. We are planning on riding eventually.
I think we're just mingling. Today's just a mingle ride.
This is a trike swap. We're just here to observe.
Yeah.
Paul's just in panic mode. Don't worry about Paul.
It's controlled chaos here. Everybody's got a little, you know, a lot of these people have never ridden a trike before, so there's a lot of like learning, and then there's tweaking to get everybody sized right. People teaching each other how to ride properly, and Sylv says it's like herding cats because all of these are cat trikes except for me and Sylv here.
Uh-oh, can I say it? Jayoe!
Jayoe. Leslie, did you start doing this? Like, did you create this?
I did not create this.
Oh.
I like that Leslie she is a problem solver. She is making things work. She knows how.
And this increases the, just extends off the.
Yeah, because we sit so far back in the saddle that it's.
You need that little extra boost. It's not like we're sitting upright. Yeah, so like when you're riding a bicycle, you're sitting upright like this. But when you're riding a trike, you're sitting like this, often cases. So the brim doesn't really give you a lot of shade over the eyes. So it's like a brim extender. Helmet visor.
Trying this on. It might be too low. We can adjust it. You can't move the visor. It's just the helmet. That actually looks
pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, let's trim it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat visor additive. I'm not 100% sure if I'll keep it, but it's kind of a neat opportunity to test some stuff. But yeah, we're very, very late. As a matter of fact, it's 11:30. I think estimated we were supposed to, on the schedule, get ready to like go at 10 or 9:30. What time were we scheduled to start today? Feels good to be back on the road after a while. What do you think of my visor? I'm not normally one that wears a helmet very often. In Asia, I never wore a helmet. But I guess it's America. Gotta abide by the rules now. Did you pop out?
Yeah, he's gonna drill your.
No, you popped out.
No, the derailleur. Where's
I was looking at the history of these islands a little while back on the ferry, and it was talking about how these were really important farming islands when you had a lot of traffic that was going up the seaways here. And as more deeper, efficient waterways were formed, this place sort of fell into disrepair. It's fairly, not super recently, but it's been seeing a resurgence in popularity because of its beauty. There are a bunch of Asians back there behind me, and they're speaking Chinese. And they're speaking Chinese like there's Chinese in the household. So, ask, where are you from? And they're like, Seattle. And it made me think about, there's like a stigma on asking somebody where they're from, and it's just assuming they're from the mainland of China or wherever. And oftentimes, I see it differently. I see it like, I'm proud of the fact that I lived in China for as long as I did, and I feel like I can identify with some of the things that they can identify with, if they are from the mainland. But when they say Seattle in like perfect English, it makes me feel like
a doofus. I still like to ask though, because if they did say China, then I'd say we're in China, and then they'd tell me, and then I'd be able to share some of the things I've seen and done, and they could share some of the things they've seen and done, and you'd have like a connection. But sometimes it flubs. I was talking to somebody that was a parent of a child in my daughter's class, Eva, and I said, "Are you Chinese?" Because I had heard her talking to her daughter, but it was muffled, and I wasn't 100% sure of the accent, but it sounded like Chinese. She's like, "No, I'm Vietnamese." Ooh, that's a big no-no when you're like way off, you know. "You Chinese?" "No, I'm Vietnamese." I've done that to somebody who was Korean too. And I was like, "Sorry." I shouldn't be able to say sorry though. It's not like you're saying that in any derogatory way, but it can come off that way to some people, and that can be offensive, I guess. I flew the drone, so I sort of fell pretty far behind. So I'm sort of continually playing catch up. Looks like here's Zach. To pack rain gear because this area is notorious for spitting on you, but I think I packed rain gear when I don't need to. I'm actually gonna remove the rear fender when I finish the ride today because it's rattling. If you can hear it, it's annoying. If I thought it was gonna rain, I'd leave it on, but it doesn't look like it's gonna rain at all. Anyways, feels good to get out on the road though, that's for sure. Hey, how's it going? That's Zach Kaplan. He owns Kaplan Cycles. I'll link to everybody's stuff in the description. He sells ASUB stuff too. He actually has a trike just like mine, Thai Fly X. So Zach, how's your X?
Oh,
Are you keeping it for posterity's sake?
I've been harvesting parts off of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the new one's working great.
Okay.
The only change on the new one's identical colors and options and all that. Only difference is I got the extra wide fenders on the new one, which I could have used on the first one.
Okay.
The rear one used to wiggle around, rub the tire.
Yeah.
So I got the real wide ones now. And so, the fenders are an improvement. Yeah, the old one I've just taken miscellaneous parts off as I've needed them.
Zach had an accident on his Thai Fly X, a collision.
I was going straight and a oncoming car did not yield and it turned across my path and T-boned me.
Oh my gosh.
In Oakland. Broke 5 ribs, yeah.
Jeez.
The frame is V-shaped now. It's the left front wheel took a lot of the impact.
Yeah.
And bent an axle and severely bent the frame, both the seat frame and the trike frame. So it's good I was on the Thai Fly X because it's my biggest, heaviest trike, and it absorbed a lot of the impact.
I was going to ask you that because we had both gotten into accidents, you know, with our trikes, and
Oh,
I
right,
was.
you had the truck.
Yeah, it ran me over. I flew like 50 yards down the road,
I
you know.
I came to a stop just on the trike.
But I often say that it was the trike that surrounds you that sort of saved me.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, if I were on a
upright
two-wheeler,
bike.
yeah, or even a two-wheel recumbent,
Yeah.
I would have just gone down, probably under the car.
Yeah.
Even if I were on this trike, I mean, this is a lot lower, so the bumper would have been higher in relation to me.
Right.
So
It
I
might
was
have
on
gone
that.
over
If
you.
I had to do it, that was a perfect trike to do it on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was almost brand new. It only had about 500 and some kilometers on it.
Anyways, yeah, that's Zach. You know, it's interesting when you live in different parts of the world. You see things at different scales, you know, and you appreciate the different scales. For example, this is an oyster farm on a island, small island in the San Juans. And, you know, there's traps out here that, you know, are feeding the restaurants and the locals and tourists who are coming in trying to get some local flavor. But when I think of oysters, you know, my memories coming from different places in the world. For example, Taiwan, in a part of Taiwan called Kenting. I ate oysters the size of Whoppers like from Burger King Whoppers, like big oysters. They were this thick. It took multiple bites just to, like, you had to eat it like a hamburger. And I remember Guangxi province, working with actually a production company, like the governmental tourism board. We went out and we explored the Guangxi oyster farms. And I mean, when we would talk about scale, that's a scale, man. Oysters, as far as they would, so many oyster traps that it would fill up this entire harbor and you wouldn't even be through them. I mean, we're talking like square miles and miles and miles of oysters. You see things at scale and you appreciate them for all the different reasons. You appreciate this for its quaintness, and you appreciate the Guangxi for its just size and quantity. You appreciate Kenting for its size. So here's probably where they harvest. They come in, pull the traps out, they put them up, they roll them here probably to size them. This thing probably spins and the barrel sorts them. I forgot one memory of oysters that is particularly frustrating, and it made me think of this platform. I went out on a tour of the Ha Long Bay in Vietnam, and we went to an oyster farm, and the boat pulled up to this. It was way out in the middle of nowhere. Like you could not even swim to the platform. We had a boat trip, and parked the boat. We all went out and did a little bit of a, you know, touristy snapshots of the oysters. And while I was off the boat, somebody stole my iPhone. I left my phone on that boat when I went and looked at the oysters and did that little kayak excursion. And when I returned to the boat, it was gone. I got back to the boat, it was gone. Somebody on the crew stole it. Learned a lesson there. Vietnam, on a boat trip, keep all your personal belongings with you at all times. That pissed me off. Anyways, it's beautiful here. Each one of these traps has a date, a name, and like a serial number. I wonder if, like, each one of these traps must be owned by another individual or individuals. So they have, you know, their own series of traps, or maybe they're separated by date. I bet you're just separated by owner. So there's a bunch of different people who are oyster farmers, and they've all kind of have a co-op or something where they all kind of work together. Here's some traps that are sitting, floating out, marinating. Oysters take a while to mature. I don't know how old these oysters are, but I know in Guangxi province they had 3 years old and then 6 years old, and depending on where they lived, they had to be moved to different waters because, you know, their filter feeding ability changed. So, you know, they could be moved from the brackish water to the more saltish water. But I don't know if they're that aggressive here. Yeah, looks like there's some traps under there.
No nut.
Are those going to the far table?
Yeah, they are.
All right, cool. All right.
So here is the dozen of the cup oysters for y'all. You know, grab the beer, glass of wine.
Shuck some oysters, I'll share it.
Well, she got a picture.
You pickle anything, I'll eat it.
Yes.
I told you that Indian wedding I went to.
And you're just going in and you're doing downward pressure and you're just wiggling it in there. And sometimes some are a little bit more difficult than others, but
Just like when I did it at home.
Yeah, just like when we did it at home.
and then once you get that shell off, you just gotta scrape under there and you're all good to go.
I might need another lesson myself.
When you're ready, we'll take
There you go.
Oh, score.
My stomach ain't perfect, but I tried that oyster.
I remember when I learned how to scuba
Good
dive.
golly, that is a great oyster.
great oyster. It was my first oyster. I was I'm a raw oyster version. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's a great first oyster. That's a great first oyster to have.
Every place I've ever...
You could be a first-time oyster eater and never eat an oyster again if you get the wrong one. Because they can, if they're bad, they're real bad.
It's gonna spoil me.
This is a vinegar and
Vinegar, some people do.
and then some lemon.
Vinaigrette sounds great. And so you just slurp it and gulp it, right?
Yep. Down the hatch.
Actually dipped it the first time, but I like your
Yeah.
Okay. Alley-oop.
How you?
I mean, it's not another dust. It's not an elf.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I was expecting a much more rubbery texture.
Right.
Chewing it, I was like, no, this.
Yep. Just, you know.
And they're real good with saltine crackers.
Yeah. Not as bad as you'd.
No. I was really expecting to throw.
It's actually not. It's actually not that bad.
I thought it'd make me nauseous.
Right. Not a super heavy meal, which is nice. It always stinks when you go to a place along your cycle tour and you just gobble. And then afterwards you realize I still have a long way to go. And I've just added a brick to my belly. Not cool.
Is there anybody behind you, Matt?
A few, yeah.
Okay, if you're going to Roche, go left. If you're going to English Camp, go right.
Where are you going?
I'm going to English Camp.
All right, I'm going
English Camp, so you go right and then a quick right.
Today's ride, I think it's going to be about 35-40 kilometers, which is pretty solid, and a good starter ride for everybody. It's funny to see all the different people having different new cyclist issues, whether binding up their cassette, you know, and their derailleur, or they don't shift in time. Whoop! For an uphill ride. You know, there's all sorts of things that not only newbies, even I run into from time to time, but he's still seeing it. People are finding their groove. This is quite nice. Iconic, what you would think of as like a Washington state forest. Just dense, wooded, mossy. And the audio is very nice. The trees here just destroy any echo. It's like the perfect sound studio, except for the traffic. Ooh, very nice road here. We're going to English Camp. I know that Pat was telling me about the history of this place, and there used to be an English camp and an American camp. So the British had a camp here and the Americans had a camp on this island, and there was a dispute over a pig. Somehow a pig got released and the Americans and the British fought over it. Hello. And there was a big kerfuffle. I guess the American camp was strategically better but comfortably horrible. And the British camp was very comfortable, but strategically horrible. That building over there was the first one built here on the English side. This is the English camp. And then on the southern tip is the American camp. Not a bad place to chill out. Although you wouldn't want to necessarily be in that building. I guess the top was a prison where they put people that broke the law, or I don't know. What would you have to do? Desert? Maybe? Leave camp too long? Traitor? Anyways, you'd be locked in the top there, but you'd also have like different ports on the one side where you could fire out and shoot boats that are coming in. We're not talking about scarabs or, you know, boats with the big outboard motor. We're talking about, you know, wind-powered ships coming in and out, or steam-powered probably. Different times. I wonder how people communicated back in the day. Like, they were protecting this inlet, and I'm sure that, you know, if you had enemy ships, like the Americans were coming down, or somebody they didn't want, there must have been a way to communicate. And I'm trying to think, you know, what they do, have smoke signals or horns or some sort of bells or gongs. You know, a whole new set of issues and problems you had to overcome at different points in time, you know. Today, you'd get on the radio, or you'd just send a text, or somebody would have a camera that would be live streaming, you know, the inlet, or they'd just be using radar. They'd just be looking from a satellite. Drones. It's all new sets of
solutions to problem these days. I got to remember that because Sylvie was talking about how she couldn't fly her drone in an area because it was sort of frustrating, you know, like she had to get authorization. In order to fly here, there's a big bubble over here, and DJI now is strengthening regulations, or America is, and I had to apply for the rights to fly my drone here before I came here for the dates that I was here. It was a bit of a, well, that's what I'm saying, like complaining about the fact that you can't fly your personal aircraft that sits in your bag and flies faster and in more places than you could, you know, hire a helicopter in many cases. Are these problems we should be whining about? Not really. I'm just happy that I have that tool in the first place. So Pat, this was the nice camp, right?
Yes.
This is, the British had the nice one.
Yes.
And the Americans had a strategic one.
Right. They've got this. It's a big tongue that goes out in the ocean, and they were along the top of that. And they could shoot in all directions.
Yeah.
But there was nothing up there but wind blowing, and
Yeah, there's nothing at the American camp.
it's barren basically.
What was the form of communication then? Was it Morse code?
No, they didn't have that yet. They were
Right.
still sailing ships around. They didn't have
Cloud,
electricity.
like
Semaphore and
maybe
gongs
or
probably
smoke
semaphore
signals?
stuff.
What is it?
Semaphore.
What
with
is semaphore?
The flags.
Oh. Because I mean, ships
that
would
or-
be coming around the corner. You'd probably want to let the camp know, but there would be. How would you do
Right,
that?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're sitting ducks here, and they're little,
Yeah.
they're a nice little camp here.
Yeah, it's
They're-
like there's no protection. There's
Hey there.
Hey. Oh, we're on the verge of a cramp. Both thighs. I have to finish my video. As Syl would say, you need.
You need a beginning, an intro, and an ending. Everything else takes care of it.
Come here, come here, come here. So, come with your seat, with your seat.
Yeah, I can actually sit on the chair.
You can sit on the chair.
I like these chairs, by the way.
They're all right. So, what are we expecting tomorrow?
Oh, big climbing day. So tomorrow we take the ferry to Orcas Island. We're in the San Juan Islands. We're actually on San Juan Island. We'll take a ferry to Orcas. And then there's the big climb up Mount Constitution. I think it's 3,800 feet.
Now,
Some of us have electric assist.
Yeah, most
some of us
everybody
don't.
has
Yes.
electric assist except me and a couple other people.
So this means that Matt has to take the ferry at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
because he needs to get an early start to start climbing.
Because I'm going to be a
the mountain.
slowpoke.
And then the rest of us, like, I have electric assist. I'm taking the 820 ferry. So while he's climbing, doing all this
Puffing and
Oh.
puffing. You know it though. She already did the same ride with it. You earned the right to have electric now.
I did.
She earned the right to have
But
electric.
while he's starting up the climb, I'm going to be drinking my coffee.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sleeping in. I'm going to take my time. I'll be thinking about you though. Yeah.
So you have that to look forward
Okay.
to tomorrow.
We dram.
A wee dram of whiskey.
Slain, the Irish whiskey.
When I hang out with Sylv, we always have to drink some bourbon or some whiskey.
For sure. It's a tradition.
We'll see you tomorrow. Jayoe.